Hello, everyone. It's me, Mitch Murphy, the red-pilled rapper on Thoughtcrimes.ca. I'm here today, not only in my special shirt today with my own very own logo on it. I'm here with a very special friend of mine today. And did you want to remain anonymous, or what are you thinking today?
Uh, I'll remain anonymous. I don't care either way.
Okay. How about a nickname?
Nickname Astral. We'll go Astral.
Astral. All right. Now, my friend Astral here is, in fact, a transgender person, and you are about to get owned with facts and logic.
Try me.
I'm just kidding. So, where are you from, my man? Well, tell me a little bit about your story, just so I can get a good
Um,
who you are.
from Canada.
Okay.
I started transitioning 16. I know, really young. And I'm 25 now. I started testosterone at 16. I had top surgery at 19. And yeah, basically that's that.
Amazing, amazing. What a plot twist.
Wow. Yeah, right.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just like your experience and contrast it with my views and just kind of
Yeah,
see where everything's at. So
of
you
course.
when you say you started transitioning at 16, is that right?
Yeah.
So what exactly does that mean?
Well, I I dealt with gender dysphoria, which is for those who don't know, gender dysphoria is a known medical condition which can cause underlying problems like depression and anxiety. I dealt with severe gender dysphoria, to the point where I would not have made it to 20 had I not started transitioning. So it wasn't a choice. For anybody who thinks it is, it's not a choice. The only choice you have is to either live in agony or deal with it and move on. I wanted to just deal with it.
Hmm.
So, yeah. What was the question?
What does it so and I'm meaning kind of in the literal sense. What does it
Yes.
mean to start transitioning at 16?
Um, socially, it means to. I guess for me, it was like cutting my hair.
Hmm.
I always dressed masculine, but I guess dressing more masculine. Um, and then starting on hormones, so testosterone. First, it was starting on hormone blockers. I went on those for about a year just to go through therapy.
And that was
Um,
at 16 years old.
yeah, at 15, we got me in therapy
Hmm.
um, to see a therapist and actually go over everything. And once we started that, we started into changing IDs and stuff. And then we moved on to um, the, what is it? The hormones,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Now, so
Yeah.
before you went down that road, was there
Mhm.
and just what I have in my mind is these like pray away the gay camps. You know,
Yeah.
was there any sort of like conversion therapy or anything like that that was even brought up? Anything that
Oh,
any ideas to and I'm not even like advocating this. I'm just curious. Was there
yeah.
anything brought up to remove the gender dysphoria that didn't involve changing your gender?
Um, well, first we did try the therapy. Like again, you go through a year of at least when I went through. I'm not sure if things have changed. If they have, that's beyond me.
Hmm.
When I started, which was 10 years ago, I went through a year of therapy. And they do that to make sure what you're dealing with is what you're dealing with. Because if you're dealing with anything else that's you're trying to hide using gender dysphoria, it's going to fuck up the process, and you're going to fuck yourself up.
Hmm.
Um, so there's no conversion, but there is, safeguards in place just to make sure a person doesn't fuck themselves over. It's known as gatekeeping in the community, but I think that's dumb. I think gatekeeping is needed for any medical condition.
And so when you say that, is there an implication there that um, a child in particular, but I guess it's
Mhm.
also with a person, that it's possible that they, because to use your words, could fuck themselves up if what they're dealing with is maybe trauma that's
Yeah,
manifesting itself in gender dysphoria as opposed to
yeah.
having gender dysphoria?
Well, there's stories of that where people go through transition and then they find out that transition wasn't what they needed and they were actually just trying to hide from their abuse or what they dealt with. I've always been of the idea that if you don't need to transition, you shouldn't.
I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you right
Yeah.
there, Astro, because I don't appreciate your transphobic comments on my platform.
I'm sorry. Oh, oh no.
I'm
Transphobic
deeply
against
offended.
myself.
But that's sorry, you go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, but no, like, because it's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, and it doesn't fix all your problems.
Hmm.
Um, it's also permanent. If for me, my facial hair, that's permanent. My chest surgery, that's permanent. My voice deepening, that's permanent. It's not going to go away if I were to stop hormones.
Even facial hair, you'd keep growing facial hair?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Testosterone's one hell of a drug. It may
Wow.
thin out a little, but it wouldn't go away completely. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting. I assumed that it would because I'm a Jack likes to make fun of me because I'm a big fan of Blair White, right? And
yeah,
I was watching one of her videos where she stopped taking her estrogen and started getting facial hair. And it's funny that I assumed that
yeah,
the opposite would happen, right?
yeah. From what I know, I've never stopped testosterone. So I don't know. But from what I've researched, if I were to stop, it may thin out, but I would still be growing facial hair. It's there. It's not gonna stop. It's like any body hair after puberty, right?
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Because that's a big concern that I have with I don't even know what to call it. I guess to keep it simple, I would say the transgender movement or the
Hmm.
LGBTQ plus or movement or whatever.
Yeah.
A big problem is with this. It's I feel like there's a demand for a blanket acceptance, which is a positive thing in a lot of ways, right? Because
Hmm.
everybody deserves to be accepted in the world, whoever they are, whatever. But some of those things that you're bringing up, it's I think it's really important to talk about is that
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the answer for everybody, and that's when I say it, people are mad at me, but I feel like having you on here, it's cool to get a different perspective on it.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well,
also sorry, you go ahead.
no. Please keep going.
Because I wanted to ask you a little bit too about how when you're because you said I think on Jack's show or maybe to me in a different scenario or something that transitioning saved your life. Would
Yes.
you yeah, you'd say that?
Yes, it did. Yes, it definitely did.
Uh
I was dealing with severe depression and anxiety before transition because of my dysphoria.
mhm.
If I had not transitioned, I would not have made it. I'm positive of that. It's hard to bring up, and it's kind of uncomfortable to bring up, but it's the
Mhm.
truth.
I
I would
commend
be
you for
lying if
doing
I
it.
didn't. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I commend you for being open about it, and because
Yeah.
that's not an easy thing to talk about at all.
No, it sucked at the time for sure. It sucked,
Mhm.
but it needed to be done.
Yeah, and it's something that I laughed at myself after we had you on Jack's show because I've heard Steven Crowder, and I'm not even a big Steven Crowder fan. I think he's a hack, really.
Yeah,
But I've heard him spout off over and over again about how the suicide rates don't go down post-op.
that's
Um,
untrue. So after the show, I actually looked up the study again because I knew there was something off about it, but kind of forgotten what. The
mhm.
study itself, the 41% study, it encompasses um, trans people who have attempted suicide overall, before and after surgery. It's not, oh, hey, after surgery, the suicide rates go up. It's actually, from the few studies that have been done, it's thought that they actually go down. I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure about after bottom surgery because there are complications that come with bottom surgery at times,
Mhm.
and that could maybe skew things. But I know just people who have, say, gone through the same thing I have, maybe a little like top surgery, or even for trans women, facial reconstruction and stuff. It helps. It helps a lot. It does. I
Mhm.
think I've talked to several trans people who have the same experience as I, where before they were deeply dysphoric and now they can just live their life.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And I want to bring something up that is just kind of a reality. And I don't
Yeah.
want to be like rude or anything like
No,
that, but
please.
I'm curious of your thoughts on this because I had a friend of mine on the show a while ago, and like the title of the episode was Blue Collar Perspective. And, you know, we were being really candid and probably being quite offensive, you know what I mean? And one of the things we were talking about was transgender people and that kind of stuff. And we were mostly talking about transgender kids. And I told a story about how when I was a kid, I remember I was home alone, and it's like, it's funny. Maybe it's toxic masculinity that has me like all sheepish right now, but
please, I don't get offended, please.
So I was home alone, and for whatever reason, I had this inclination to like put on a bunch of my mom's clothes, you know, and I like put on the jewelry, I put on the shoes, and I just like started prancing around the house being all queenie or whatever. And I remember there was a weird feeling in my gut, and I thought like, this feels good. And I was probably like 8 years old, you know. I'm thinking like, man, this feels good. And I moved on from that. And I don't think I ever had that urge ever again. I did it that one time, and I was like, you know, whatever. On. But I have this thought that if if the following day I had gone to school and you know, we had like a transgender acceptance day where they had said, if you ever have these feelings, you know, because I've talked to my friends that have kids that go through these, you know, the modern day sex ed and that kind of stuff, that if I had been told at that moment in time that if you have these feelings, it's perfectly natural, you might be a transgender person, that I could have been led down a path of fucking myself up, you know what I mean? And maybe taking irreversible hormones or doing these things, and that like, I'm fine, to be clear. I'm not trying to say, but I worry about the kids a lot. I really do, because I've talked to a lot of people that have had similar experiences, and maybe even experienced other people who have maybe experienced some gender dysphoria, which is not how I would categorize what I experienced, but that maybe experienced some of that, but now are living as the gender that they had at their assigned birth, right? And they're perfectly happy that way. What are your thoughts on that?
For the most part, I think it's a non-issue, the kid thing. Like, kids should be able to experiment. When it comes to being trans, I think it's important to make people understand that it's not about the clothes you wear or the things you like. For me, the way I always explain it is my brain has a map of what my body should be, and my body does not match what that map is. It's more than clothes and stuff. Like, I like the clothes I wear. I'll wear clothes from either section of the store. I don't care. If it looks good on me, it looks good. I don't give a shit. When it comes to kids, help your kid, you know, learn about themselves, but don't lead them down something too quickly. You should let a kid evolve, right? Like I said earlier, if you don't need to transition, you shouldn't, because it's a lot of pain and it's a lot of work. It's a lot. I had severe dysphoria. I had to transition. It was what was best for me. Kids, they're not going on hormones though. Like, people think that kids are going on hormones. They're not going on hormones. The most they'll go on is at 13 of puberty blockers or hormone blockers, which just kind of helps stop puberty for a while. For me, that in itself saved my life, just because I wasn't dealing with female puberty, which sucks. For somebody who doesn't, it just sucks. Yeah. Basically, I think you should let your kids experiment and, you know, be free to try things. Let them play with dolls. Who fucking cares? Who cares? They're dolls. Let a kid dress up in girls' clothes or boys' clothes, or let them play with bugs. It doesn't mean that they have to go and start transitioning or go to school as if they were Tammy before. They don't have to go to school as Tommy. It's just, you know, just let a kid experiment and live.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and I can see that, but something that it's dawning on me that I should probably be upfront about, and it's difficult for me to say what I'm about to say, because
go for it,
because of the compassion I have for you and your story, honestly. Is that I'm coming into this conversation with a preset opinion, and this opinion is that and I include hormone blockers in this, and just all the different things like that, is that any parent who lets their kid, I mean, I would arbitrarily say 18 years old, who puts their kid on that under 18 years old, I would classify it as child abuse, honestly, is that's what I'm coming into this conversation with. And it's a struggle for me hearing you say that you wouldn't have made it to 20 without doing what you did, because it's those two opinions don't mix.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I know.
It doesn't mix with what you're saying, and it's a struggle for me to limp through this conversation with my my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and that's why I think if you're under 18 and you can survive to adult age, do it. See if you can make it through. See, like, experiment with different things. I didn't just go straight into transition. I tried dressing like more androgynously. I tried cutting my hair shorter. Nothing worked. The more I learned about gender dysphoria, the more I knew it matched what I was dealing with. And then it got so severe that I had to do something. Like, I had to deal with it. I think if a kid under 8 is mutilating or trying to mutilate themselves because of their sexed body, I think you need to deal with that. I think you need to deal with it if the kid is 16 or 8, you know?
Does that happen? I've never even heard
There's
of
been
that.
stories, yeah, there's been stories of kids, like male kids trying to cut off their penises because of gender dysphoria. It's a thing that happens. It's very rare, but it does happen. And I think that's why you have to look at it on a person-to-person basis. It's not just, oh, hey, one is wrong, one is right. I try to be really understanding in that sense, because I get it. I get the whole scare about kids. It's a real fear. We don't want to put kids on the wrong path. We want to make sure we're doing the right thing for them. I think that's why it's so hard for parents as well to figure out what they need to do to make their kids happy in that situation, for sure.
Yeah. So how do we combat these blue-haired feminists that want to parade around their transgender kid for brownie points? Because I'm sure you've seen that, and I find these people so despicable, so despicable.
It's hard, right? Because it's like if you're parading your kid around for media or whatnot, I see it as child abuse, straight up. Like, you don't need to put your kid on camera. You don't. Keep them off camera. But again, it's so hard. You have to do it base by base, and you have to hope that the doctors in the situation know the kid better than you do from an outside eye. And you have to hope that it is actually for the kid's betterment, right? Like, it's a hard situation because we can't play the role of, I guess, Nazi, like, oh, hey, overbearing, watching the kid, and, sorry, we can't, like, I'm trying to get my words out, and I don't know what I'm really trying to say. We can't play the role of, dang, and now it's gone.
Well, because I think your issue is probably the same as my issue, because I'm Mr. Libertarian, right? I'm all President of Canada, and the idea Corona, the idea of the state coming in and telling a parent what they're what they can do with their kid is horrific, and I hate that idea. But I hate the idea of these child abuse more, is the truth.
Yes.
So it's one of these situations where, like, I probably would if I was president of Canada, I would probably let my principles slip and be like, yeah, stop that from happening in whatever way possible. But it's a really tough conversation to have, and I really commend you for having it with me, Astro, like, for real.
No, of course. I don't mind at all. I like having this kind of conversation. I'd rather, especially since we sit on opposite sides of the table, both literally and figuratively, I think it's a great way to both take a look and open our minds. So long as we're open to each other's opinions, why not, right? I like hearing others' opinions. I don't like living in an echo chamber. It's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, man. And for all the horrific things that Jack says on this network, and even that I spout off sometimes, that is the underlying principle, is that we believe that radicalization happens from censorship and from shutting people out. And it's like, I believe that I'm a pretty reasonable guy, right? And But if I say something like, well, putting anyone under the age of 18 on hormone blockers is child abuse, if I say that on a mainstream platform, I get shoved out and into these echo chambers where I'm sure you've seen some of these chat rooms, you know what I mean, that are horrible, and there's not a reasonable person in there, but they all happen to agree with that one thing that I said, you know, and I'm not even talking about me. I'm talking like pejorative people, right?
Yes.
And
I
I
am the
think,
third person. Yeah.
yeah, and I think this is the biggest problem, that hate speech, so quote unquote hate speech, is going to radicalize people really quick, man. Really, really. That's why we got to legalize thought crimes. Hashtag legalize thought crimes, man. That's what it's all about.
Well, yeah. Well, really, you've got to. If you live in an echo chamber, it really is. It just kind of makes everybody against each other. If we're open to each other's ideas, even if we don't maybe agree in the end, if we're open to hearing them, it's a great way of maybe strengthening our own ideas, or maybe even just helping understand the other side of things. I don't see the bad side in listening to another person and talking with them like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's amazing. And again, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. It's fun.
Now, have you experienced discrimination?
No. If I have, it's people who do it on the off, like outside of my view. So I haven't experienced it at all in person though. But I'm also pretty open about it. I'm not like, oh hey, I'm trans, but like on dating sites, say I'll make it clear that I am a trans man. And I also pass well enough where people don't notice it when they first meet me. They don't notice it. I
would never know. I
Yeah.
would never know if I met you.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I'm fortunate to pass as well as I do. So I don't deal with discrimination, but I do know people have. I know I know a few trans women who have like been abused or hurt because of being trans. It's a thing.
And so is that mostly, when you say abused, is that like Tinder dates gone bad, or what kind of stuff have you heard about?
General public, like trans women who don't pass, say, who are just out and about, you'll see in the news like them getting attacked. Yeah, Tinder dates, stuff like that. I've actually never had a bad Tinder date. I'm lucky in that sense.
Yeah, I wish I could say the same. That's because that's interesting, and I'm laughing at myself too, because I'm like the classic right-wing commentator, in that like pretty much all my experience with transgenderism is like from Blair White's YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah.
But
I don't mind her. A lot of people don't like her. I don't mind her.
Oh, I think she's great, for real. But her, I think it's her boyfriend or fiance, he told a story, Corona, about how before he knew that he was into trans women, right? Because before he was aware, he was on a date with a girl that he thought was super hot, and then they were down on the beach and they started making out, and then this girl whipped out her hog. Okay. You know what I mean? And he told a story about how I guess he smacked her around, and he talked about it pretty candidly. Like he, like was beat. I don't know how bad it was, or what happened. Yeah. He was talking about it very candidly in front of Blair, but that he got like physically aggressive. But then like the following day felt a different kind of way about it, called her, and they went out again, and it escalated from there, or whatever.
Wow.
But that story really made me wonder, like how often that happens, because if I was in that situation, I'm confident that I wouldn't hit anybody, but I would probably feel tricked. I would feel angry because this hadn't been disclosed to me.
And that's why I'm so careful when I go out with people. I make sure they know, or at least I do my best to make sure they know as soon as possible, because I don't want anybody feeling like I've duped them, or like they're not getting what the package says.
Yeah.
It sucks though when it does happen. I'm not for not telling people. I think you should disclose things like that. If you're on a date with somebody, or if things are going to go further, at least disclose it. I don't give a shit if people know. I don't give a shit. So I'll tell people.
God bless you, brother.
It's a part of me. It's a part of me. Why am I going to ignore it? Right?
Yeah. Hey, makes sense to me because that's again, I get a lot of shit because and some of it's deserved, but it's because I have big problems with some of these movements, and I'm not like
Mhm.
in general opposition to gay people or transgender
Yeah.
people or anything like that, but I see some big issues with these movements, like how I get the sense that it's like when women talk about female oppression, they'll be like,
Mm.
well, women are not equal until I can go for a run without worrying about someone scoop me up, you know, or like transgender people. Like I'm not equal until I can go on a date with someone without
Mhm.
worrying about being abused. I hear these things and it's like, I understand where that's coming from, but
Yeah,
there,
in some areas you can't really just say you're trans. Like I'm lucky we live in a fairly liberal society. But I like if I were to say elsewhere in the world that it wasn't so accepted, I understand being stealth and I'm not against it.
right.
I just personally believe for myself um, that I don't want to mislead anybody if I don't have to. And if it, after the first date, if things go further, if they find out and they're not about it or they're not for it, well, now that's just a wasted date.
Right, right.
So,
Cause yeah, and I think the reason that I get shit for some of my views on this stuff is that it probably almost comes across, and this is probably my fault, but it probably comes across as if I'm implying that people deserve what's happened to them, and that's not it at
no.
all. But it's that you have to use common sense and understand that the
Yes.
world isn't fair, right? And that you have to disclose things to people, and you have to be aware that not everyone's going to react appropriately. And it's just like if a woman is running or is going for a run in downtown Los Angeles or downtown Vancouver with both headphones in, running through a park, and it's dark outside, and she can't hear anything, you know, she's removed the hearing senses from herself. If she gets scooped up and something happens to her, it's not that she deserved it, but it is that she, you know, you have to be
Well, it's the
careful.
same idea if I were to go for a run late at night. Like if I get, robbed, that's my fault because yeah, I'd be going for a run with earplugs in. Like
Mhm.
that's my fault for not being totally there. At least in that sense, it's not my fault for being robbed, but I'm, you know, just common sense, like you said.
Yeah. And I feel like we as a society are really encouraging nonsense talk a lot of the time. Like a lot of nonsense talk. And that's what we're trying to fight against here at
Mhm.
thoughtcrimes.ca. But what do you I want to shift gears a little bit. I am
Yeah,
so appreciative of you talking about this
of
stuff with
course.
me because most of
Yeah,
the time people just call me names and get mad at me.
I don't get that. I don't get that. Like that. How does first of all, how does calling you names help change your views if they're trying to change your views? And then how does that fix anything? Like there's no compassion there. Let's just listen. Let's hear each other.
What a radical thought crime that is.
Right. I know, right? Crazy.
What do you so politically? Where are you at politically?
I
Do you
I vote
care?
NDP. I don't care. I just vote whatever goes best with my views.
You vote NDP?
I know, crazy, right?
Get off my show. Get off my show.
I knew it. I knew it. He hates me now.
Yeah, I'm bigoted against NDP voters for sure.
It is what it is. I voted NDP. I voted liberal. I voted conservative. I vote whatever fits my views at the moment, basically. Whatever fits what I'm thinking works best for what the country needs to happen.
That's
And I also
interesting.
know NDP will never end up fully in power, so to have a minority NDP, it's not a bad thing. It's just another person to kind of help push things along, I think.
Well, they got in power in Alberta, you know, because I used to live in
Wait,
Edmonton actually, and they were in
I'm
power.
here in Alberta right now. I mean, I just moved here. I didn't know they got in power here.
Yeah, yeah, they were in before
Dang.
before Kenny. It was a disgrace. It was a disgrace.
Dang.
But that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything that they have done that like as far as the transgender thing, like anything that they have done in particular that's made big strides for
Oh
the
God.
transgender people?
I don't follow along close enough to politics to say yes or no. I just look at the platforms at the time of voting, and then just like, okay, yeah, those look good. Yeah, they look like they'll do good enough. Let's just vote them.
All right, all right. Well, hopefully
I'm
by the end
I'm
of this
very
interview,
simplistic.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of this, I can get you to vote Libertarian because
Yeah.
they are the ultimate live and let live party I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they just want to fire every politician and
Same.
give you all your taxes back. That's it. No more rules.
Seems like it would go barely. I don't know. Would that go well?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I like him, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's all
It's
very interesting.
politics. Like politics is all bullshit. When it comes to the end of the day, I don't know. I have a kind of cynical view of politics where I it's all just smoke and mirrors. It
Hmm.
really is. Everybody's saying something to get themselves voted in.
So
Do they really ever do anything?
now, what I find interesting, because everybody says that, but then they vote for people that want to increase the funding to the smoke and mirrors. You know what I mean? And that is where the
Yeah,
Libertarian Party comes in. Is they're the only ones that say, "Yeah, it's all bullshit. Let's fire all these people."
I feel like that'll never get them in.
Man, we'll see. We'll see. They're
It's such a
struggling.
radical view, right?
Yeah,
Because
it
that sounds
is.
like you're trying to deteriorate the whole system. People are scared of that.
They really are. But it's because people don't have any self accountability. You know what I mean? They don't want to do anything themselves. They want the
But
data.
it's also the unknown too.
They
Not
sorry,
just
what was that?
self accountability. It's also the unknown. The unknown of, well, what would happen if the system was changed?
Totally, totally. But the best argument I've heard against that was that when they were abolishing slavery, which I know you
Mhm.
love slavery, you said, right?
Oh, of course.
When they
Who
were
doesn't?
when they were abolishing slavery, there were a lot of people that were saying, "This is how we've done it forever. What are we
Yeah.
gonna do? There's no like what you guys are crazy. There's no other systems in place." But everybody agreed this is an immoral system that shouldn't be in place. So
Hmm.
let's get rid of it and figure it
Yep.
out. And that's how I feel about every last one of these people in political office. They're all garbage, except for Keith
Yeah.
McIntyre and Tim Moen.
So
But
they aren't all garbage.
well, they're not in power, so I can say
Okay.
it.
Fair.
How about Jessica Yaniv? Have you heard of Jessica Yaniv?
Oh God, don't even. Okay, she makes all of us look like fools. Oh God. I
Yeah.
can't even. I can't even. Okay, I followed along with her shenanigans for a while, and just God, yeah.
This
What a train wreck.
Yeah, just a little recap for the listeners. Jessica Yaniv is a brave, beautiful woman who
Vancouverite.
yeah, Vancouver, who basically Corona, this is just one thing that she did was there's a bunch of other stuff like this, but she basically ran around to a bunch of waxing salons and
What about the kids' pool party?
yeah, okay, that's another one.
Come
But
on, that's the crazier one.
so she ran around to a bunch of waxing salons and places like that, trying to get her penis and balls waxed, and found one that refused service, and took them to a human rights tribunal and got their whole business shut down. And also
Yeah,
threw a topless kids party at her house or something like that.
at a pool.
Um,
Yeah,
Corona. So this is a bad person that we're talking about.
yeah, a mess.
Now, a lot of people on my side of the culture war take this as an opportunity to. I was gonna say dead name, but I guess it would be misgender, right? They'll say, oh, this like I know Rebel News in particular will be like
Hmm.
this man is running around doing this, doing that. Um, how do you feel about that? Somebody who is blatantly using their transgenderism as a club to beat people over the head with. How do you feel about that? Using that against them in that way?
I feel like fighting fire with fire never works well. We should never go down to anybody's like level. Yaniv is bad, sure, but we shouldn't misgender. Like, just I I want to say basic human respect, but it's hard with somebody like her.
Yeah, it is. And because I found myself cheering it on, right? Like when I hear Rebel News doing that misgendering and stuff, I'll be like, yeah, she deserves it, or
Yeah,
whatever. But it probably is a mistake, isn't it? It must be.
I I live by, yeah, treat people as you want to be treated. Um, Even if they aren't somebody, again, I agree with, I'm going to treat them as I'd want to be treated. I don't agree with what Yaniv does at all, but I'll still use whatever pronoun she cares for me to use, I guess.
Okay, now
I
I
care about
got
people.
I got a real bomb for you, okay?
Okay.
Now, I'm sure you've heard of Jordan Peterson, right?
I've heard of. I don't know much about.
Okay, so I believe it was Bill C-16. I'm sorry, please. I need Mark Zuckerberg to fact check me, but I believe it was Bill C-16, and he refers to it as compelled speech legislation. So basically, what it is you can get put in front of a human. And just to be clear, I'm on the same page as you that misgendering
Yeah.
and dead naming to even
Is
people
it
that just
forcing you to? It's forcing you to, right? Basically, the bill.
basically, yeah.
That's
If you dead name or if you misgender, you can be put in front of a human rights tribunal, and you can get in huge trouble
in what
for hate speech.
context is that for any context? Is that in a business context?
So I'm not a legal expert, but my understanding of it isn't that if you do it to someone, it's if you do it to someone on the street, I think it's different. But it's like if you're a landlord
Mhm.
and someone is going to have tenancy in your building or something like that, and you refuse to mark them down on the paperwork as their preferred pronoun or anything like that, you can get in big trouble. And the reason that Jordan Peterson comes into this is he said that if anybody comes into my classroom and wants to be referred to as a gender that is not male or female, I'm not going to do it because of this bill. And that, to be clear, that never actually happened. Nobody ever
Mhm.
came in and wanted, because what we're talking about here is like z, zer, they, them,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it caused a huge uproar and also happened to make him tens of millions of dollars with his book and his Patreon. But
Mhm.
I'm curious of your thoughts on a bill like that, because it makes it illegal. It makes it a crime.
Yeah, I think to force people into speech is I wrong. It's like forcing any like any form of forced speech. I think is wrong. I think people should have freedom of speech no matter what. I think in a business context, it's different, of course. I think a landlord, if you're asking a landlord to mark down, say, a different gender than what's on your IDs, I think that the landlord needs to go by the law of the situation.
Mhm.
If your ID says F, then if they need to mark down F, they should mark it down just so there's no discrepancy. But I think to banish people from free speech is wrong overall. Yeah,
Seems like a
if it
pretty reasonable take to me.
yeah, I think if it's bad enough, like there are hate speech crime laws out there, are there not?
Yeah.
So could you not just take a person up on hate speech if it was at that point, at that level? Why create a bill specifically for misgendering? I don't understand. Right?
I believe it's because one of the core tenets of implementing communism is controlling language, and
Mhm.
I firmly believe that it's this this again ties to Jordan Peterson, but it's this postmodernist idea that everything is a social construct, and it's in the same way that conservatives and right wing people used to crap their pants over gay marriage, was because they said it's a slippery slope,
Yeah.
and
The slippery slope fallacy. Yeah.
yeah, oh, fallacy. All right, but
Yeah.
where we're going now, I believe, is to this place where you're gonna be able to put like fairy dust unicorn on your driver's license, and anybody
No.
who doesn't call you that can be put in front of a human rights tribunal. I think that that's the direction we're heading.
I definitely think that is a bit of a slippery slope fallacy. I definitely there goes my phone. um, I dropped my phone. I think that like how people thought with if we legalize gay marriage, it'll lead to the legalization of bestiality or pedophilia. I think it's a dumb place to go because it's a non-issue. It's not gonna happen. Um, the most that'll happen with IDs is maybe you'll be able to put an X instead of an actual gender. I don't think it'll ever go to fair unicorns places.
Mhm.
I think it'll stay relatively normative, just maybe slightly changed to um, better fit, I guess, society and how it's evolving. Like let's look at stoplights, for instance. I'm sure when they were first implemented, people were furious because hey, why can't I just keep driving?
Mhm.
But it's not. It didn't hinder our freedoms. It just helped to implement safeties and make people more comfortable. You know, I think that the pendulum is sure swinging left. I don't think it's swinging left to the amount that people fear. It's change, but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I hope you're right, because
Yeah.
I'm pretty alarmist with the culture war for sure, and it's
Mhm.
because I see things like transgender story hour, or sorry, no, that's wrong. It was the
Drake.
drag queen story
Yeah.
hour. You know, people like me love to crap their pants over stuff like that. You know, we all
Mhm.
freak out. Oh, look what's happening. But I am concerned. You know, and
Mhm.
also that it does go back to what I was saying about I feel like it's transgenderism is almost being encouraged when it's something that should be not be taken lightly. You know, it's something that
Mhm.
is really serious, and I think a lot of these things fall into that category where they should be looked at with some trepidation, you know, and
Yeah.
not hatred and not bigotry, but just with you know, a cautious state of mind, I guess, is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, especially with something that medical transition, let's say serious thing. It should be something looked at seriously, and it should be something that you make sure the patient is ready for or needs to move on with life. It's not something that's, oh hey, flick of a button, I'm cured, you know, or you know, I can go back to whatever I was.
Mhm.
It should be looked at seriously. I think I understand the fear of it being, you know, I understand the fear, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. What about,
I'm
because what's that?
I'm rambling a bit. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I'm trying to
killing
get
it.
words. Okay, cool.
No, seriously killing it. So, and another thing I wanted to run by you is that it's of my belief that the breakup of the nuclear family, right? Which in
Hmm.
this, I'm gonna kind of this my definition of it as well might be different than other people's, but my definition of it is that it goes God, husband, wife, child. I believe that it's the breakup of that unit that is causing a lot of problems and causing
Really.
a lot of division in our in society.
Hmm.
Um, but people really hate hearing that. It really like hurts people's feelings when I talk about that.
Hmm.
But I think that me and other people need to do a better job of explaining what it is. And I think a good, and I want to ramble a little bit and then get your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A good example of where that idea might be more inclusive than people might realize is like one of the first times I went on Jack's show. As you know, what Jack really likes to do is to put you in a bad spot and try to get you to say something that will get you
Yes.
canceled for the rest of your life. He loves it.
Yeah.
And one of the guy, it wasn't Jack, but one of the guys on the show said something along the lines of like, well, you're not okay with gay people raising kids, are you? He said something like that and tried to like
Hmm.
coerce me into saying something nasty. And what I said that blew his brain out of his head was I said, well, I'd way rather that a gay couple raise a baby than it be aborted. And that just like, because he was this right-wing guy, right? And I could tell he had
Hmm.
never considered that. um I'm curious of your thoughts of where transgender people can fit in terms of raising kids and having families and that kind of stuff, because like I'm assuming that a female to male would have you know, person that's transitioned wouldn't have an interest
Hmm.
in carrying a child. Would that be
I couldn't. I would want to die.
right?
Like, you're right wing. Somebody like myself, I would need an abortion. If anything like that happened, I would need it. That's
Interesting.
why I'm getting surgery to get rid of that thing. I don't want it. Um, yeah.
Interesting. And that
Um,
that's just because it would hit the dysphoria, right?
uh, majorly so. Yeah, I'd go straight back to where I was 10 years ago.
That is so interesting. That's so interesting. But
Yeah.
do you plan on raising kids at any point?
Not at the moment. No, I have no intentions. Maybe
Okay.
10 years down the line, but I've never had intentions to have kids.
That's interesting, because and that hurts me. That hurts me to hear you say
Yeah.
that, because and not that you won't have biological kids, the fact that you won't
No.
raise kids, because the reason that I value the nuclear family so much is because I think it's the best way to raise good people, but I that doesn't
Hmm.
mean it's the only way. And when I see meet good people that don't want to have kids, it hurts me because
Yeah.
the dipshits are having kids at a very quick rate.
Yeah.
And
Hey, who knows, right? 10 years down the line, maybe I'll meet a partner and maybe my career will be laid out a bit that I'll be like, hey, yeah, sure, kids, that'll be cool.
yeah, come
It'll be a new
on.
adventure.
All right.
Right now, though, right now, I can't see it.
All right. All right. Well, yeah, we'll see, right? You never know where life's going to take you. Who knows?
Exactly.
But do you find that idea of encouraging the nuclear family? Do you find that to be an offensive idea? Do you think that that's a bad
No,
idea?
I mean, it's just a type of family, right? So your encouragement of a nuclear family isn't necessarily mother and husband. It's like two parents and child sort of deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there studies that have been done to show that a two-parent household is much better psychologically, emotionally, and all over for a child than a one-parent household?
Yeah.
I don't see it as offensive. I see it as understandable. To have two parents to care for a kid means more money, which means less stress, which means the kid has less stress put on them. That's if the family is, of course, healthy and not, if the parents aren't fighting and everything. If it's a healthy family, I don't see why it's a bad thing.
Yeah, because people on my side like to make it really black and white, and be like, no, you need a husband and a wife, and I do believe that that's best. I do. Corona, but I think you have to be a really big idiot to think that it's not possible for other dynamics to work. Because like I've met husband and wives that raise kids that smoke crack in their house, and I've met gay couples that are just like perfectly normal, awesome people that are raising kids. And it's like, while I think that it's probably not optimal, it's probably better, and easier to be a husband and wife. I don't see why a gay couple or a trans couple or whatever couldn't do it, couldn't make it work.
No, I think if the couple is healthy, then it makes sense that it'll be healthy for the child. I think a one-parent household overall is just more stressful for everyone involved. There's a lot more stressors and a lot more put on the kid and a lot more put on the parent. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's hard to talk about these things because they a lot of these things are thought crimes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have a really hard time hearing some of my views. You know what I mean? But I do have a firm belief that my views aren't as would the word be exclusive as people hearing them might think that they are, because it's my views are my views, but that doesn't mean that I can't accept that other dynamics work.
Yeah, of course.
But
maybe
I'm just trying to like use you to justify my have like my token transgender.
No, I always believe that if you're respectful of the other person's views, there's no reason why the other person can't be respectful and why there can't be a conversation.
Right. Because I on a lot, especially on my solo episodes, I get pretty crazy, and I dump out whatever's in my head. There's no script. I just let it out. And it has hurt some people's feelings. It has. And I'm a lot more empathetic than some people might think. You know what I mean? Because I do care. You know what I mean, Astral?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you hearing me out and letting me just kind of bounce these ideas off your head. Is there anything you want to ask me? Anything you want to know? Because
I didn't think about that. I'm not sure. I think no. I'm not good at off the cuff questions. I'm really not.
No, it's all good. I think you should start a channel because I really appreciate your message. I think that you're very, very sharp. You know what I mean? And I think you're handsome too. I don't have a problem saying that.
I think you think so.
Yeah, for real. You're doing great out there. You're killing it.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the Redpill Rapper Show, man. I sure appreciate it.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Man. Awesome. You got anything you want to plug or promote?
At the moment, no, I'm okay. I suck at promoting things.
All right. Well, you take it easy, my friend. And
you too.
I'd love to have you on next time. I promise you're not just my token trans friend.
Hell yeah.
I do. I think you've got a very balanced view of these things, and it's good for me to hear the other side. Like you said, if we end up in these echo chambers, it's a bad thing. It's a very
no, you can't. It does nothing to help. It does everything to harm.
Yeah. Hashtag free speech. Hashtag vote libertarian. What else have we got? All right, man. You take care, Astral.
Yeah. Peace.
Thoughtcrimes.ca. This one gets a little ugly. Buckle up, snowflakes. Look, I'm a thought criminal, but you know my bag is full. Bitch, you know I'm by my flow. Mitchie knows his heart is full. I can't dig it no more. I'ma put you on the floor. What you looking peachy for? What you leeching up info? Once you walk right through that door, don't be coming back no more. I don't wanna smell odor, I don't wanna hear encore. Don't let it smack you when you're on your way out. Quit overreacting while you're sitting on your couch. Got a media man who's running your mouth. He's a ventriloquist, now can you imagine this? Where did his hand go? Never mind his wrist. Darker than Van Gogh, couldn't find in this abyss. Doing all this bidding while you're thinking that you're winning. Wish that I was really kidding. Wish that I could start forgetting all the news, all the media, the bullshit, the lies. Look behind my eyes and you'll see rage inside. The criminal. Importing his base, better speak up just in case. The criminal. His problem is not race, it's the brainwashing that's in your face. Grabbing at my phone like 911. Would you help me now? Would you please send someone? There's a leftist in my house, I must have left my soybeans out. He's telling me that I don't know what diversity's all about. Like I really give a fuck about the color of your skin. Like they really got you thinking that you could never win. Like they really got you thinking that you're a victim. Cause your family tree, man, it wasn't always free. It kinda sounds like Kamala, but you don't wanna see how many black men she locked up in the penitentiary. They could not be free. Maybe she learned it from her grandpappy. You're making me crazy with your privilege, B. I wanna see her apologize for all the lies and all the black lives that she kept inside. I will not apologize for exposing all these guys. You can see it with your eyes. They commit much worse than thought crimes. It's like MK Ultra, Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip, Patriot Act, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Chelsea Manning too. Importing his base, better speak up just in case. Biggest problem is not race, it's the brainwashing that's in your face. World is so absurd, I keep hearing all these words. Racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, Islamophobe. How about I just don't pick up the phone? How about I just act like I'm not home? Like, how do you like that dial tone? Canceled everybody who had some heart and soul. Made the red pill rapper come crawling out his hole. They be like, what an asshole. But I'm just a cancel culture vulture. I'm just a victim of my circumstance. I don't want your lollipops or your fancy pants. And you could keep your fucking plaques. All that shit is whack. Now I'm going on attack. Cause we're coming for the culture and you'll never get it back. We just sat back while the left went off the track. But you poked the wrong bear. Now you're really about to care. Cause you backed us in a corner and left us without a border. Now you're just a corporate porter while you're working for the New World Order. Temper's turning shorter, temperature I better mortar. Cause it's stuck on high, it's so damn hot. But you're so damn not, but bitch I got the edgiest shit that you've ever heard. I'm a criminal. Importing his face, better speak up just in case. Criminal. Biggest problem is not race, it's the brainwashing that's in your face. You just gotta keep in mind, dude, like, if you disagree with these people, you are racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. It doesn't matter who you are. What matters is what they say you are.